Hey friends, Michael Albert here. How are you? Um, all is well. I'm looking forward to doing a video demonstration for you of one of my collage art projects. Um, so here goes. I'm not sure if you know much about me, but I'm an artist and an author. This is my book. It's called An Artist's America, and it's published by Henry Holt in 2008. And it's an artist's autobiography. So it's a book about me, and I wrote it. And it's available online. It's in libraries. I actually recorded a reading of this book that I have on YouTube. And if you go to Michael Albert Virtual Reading of An Artist's America, it'll come up and I'll read the book to you. But it's got pictures of artworks that I've made over the course of my career and little blurbs about the pieces and why I made them and some thoughts about them. I'm mostly known, I guess, for making collages out of cereal boxes and other consumer brand packages. And today I'm going to demonstrate how to do one of my projects that is what I call text-based. But very quickly, sometimes I just cut things up and put them back together like I did with this Frosted Flakes box. Sometimes I use colors from packages and create things like American flags and hearts and flowers and other pictures using the colors and patterns that I find on these types of packages. And sometimes I use the letters that I find on packages to spell out messages. This is one of my text-based collages. It's the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you look at the image, you can see I spelled out the entire Pledge of Allegiance using letters from many different packages. And then I filled in the space around the letters with different images. For this one, I picked 50 different brand logos and characters, mascots of the brands to represent the 50 states. And so I'm going to show you a specific text-based idea that I've developed and that I like to suggest as a starter project if you want to try to make a collage the way that I do, using the same materials that I do. And that is what I call a name collage. So here's a postcard of a name collage I created a few years ago. And as you can see, I took the letters from an assortment of different packages and spelled out my name, Michael Albert. So I'm going to show you and demonstrate to you how to make one of these. First, let me tell you what you're going to need. What you're going to need to do this project is a pair of scissors. And these are my special orange handled scissors that I've been using for over 25 years. The brand is actually called Hofritz, and these are the most comfortable scissors in there. They work really well, and I've made almost all of my collages using these scissors. The next thing you'll need is some glue, and regular Elmer's glue will do, you know, the white liquid glue that dries clear. A glue stick is good, clear liquid glue that comes in the same kind of a bottle that you can get at Staples or your office supply store of choice works. And actually the kind of glue that I use is called Linico. Linico is the brand, and it's a neutral pH adhesive, which means that it's an acid-free glue. But it's really very similar to Elmer's glue. It's white liquid glue that dries clear. And so get yourself some scissors and glue. Then, as a base for your collage project, you know, what you're going to be gluing your cut pieces onto, you'll need a board. And this is a off-white museum board that I got from a frame shop that I work with. I get a lot of scrap from my local frame shop because when they do mats and stuff and they do their work, there's always some excess board, and they usually throw it into the recycling bin. So couple of frame shops that I work with locally are nice enough to save it for me, and I use it in my projects because it's perfectly cut, acid-free museum boards of all different shapes and sizes and colors. Um, the other thing you could use if you don't have that is the back of a writing pad. You know, when you have a writing pad and you use the last page, it comes on a nice piece of cardboard, which is a perfect material to use for this project. Also, the kind of boxes that you might get things shipped to you in, you know, from the store, come in these thicker type boxes called corrugated cardboard, and you can use either the side of a box like that or the flap, or cut a piece out of it and use that, because that's a nice sturdy cardboard that's perfect also for this project. So the scissors, the glue, and the boards. And then the next thing you would need would be to take up a collection of assorted cardboard packages of different things that you get at the store, whether it's a cereal box, crackers, wheat thins, light bulbs, all sorts of products that come in these cardboard boxes are perfect. You'll notice that they're all very colorful. A lot of them have letters on them, all different fonts, words, pictures, color, logos, little sayings, and all sorts of fun stuff. The thing is that you got to really look at these boxes closely, and whatever catches your eye or whatever you think is interesting, these are things to look for. And I'm going to now show you how to do one of my name collages. So if you don't have those materials, maybe you want to hit pause and gather those together. And now we're going to make a name collage. Okay, so I spent a little time before to save some time cutting out the letters of my name, Michael Albert, and I cut out also some images to get started to fill in the space around my name. But what I'm going to do is dump these out on the side of my table. I'm using this as my base. It's the back of some piece of cardboard that something came in, not sure what, but it's a good size for me for this project. And what I did is that I went and found the letters to spell out my entire name. Michael, M, I, C, H, A, E from Cheerios, L, and then my first name, Albert. And what I'm going to do is glue these things down first. And you don't have to center your pieces. It's really up to you. If you could, they also don't have to be big and readable. They could be tiny. They could be around the edges. They could be, you know, in a curved kind of a way. They could be backwards. You know, this is an art piece. So you are really in charge of how you want to do this. But I like to think sometimes that these name collages are a way of doing a self-portrait of sorts, because you're spelling your own name, and then maybe you're finding images and words, you know, that are somehow personal to you. So what I do, I know I work fast sometimes, is I put a little glue on the back of my piece, and then I take my finger and I spread it out nice and evenly so it goes from edge to edge and totally covers the back of the piece. And then I place the piece where I want it to go on my board, hold it down, press it down, and then you'll see it'll stay nice and flat. I'm going to glue down all the letters of my name. And, you know, like I said, once you've glued down your pieces and have your name, then the next step will be to start looking through all your collected boxes and packages and find other images and words and things that you might want to use to surround your name. You know, it doesn't have to be anything that has any special meaning necessarily, but it can. And that the more you do, the more you make it into kind of a self-portrait. The other thing I wanted to say is that even though these types of boxes are, my favorite materials to use for these types of collages, you can also use magazines, catalogs, junk mail, stickers. There's all sorts of printed materials that you might have around your house that you don't know what to do with and that you might otherwise throw away or save or put in the recycling bin, hopefully, if you don't need it anymore. But it's totally, depends. Some people say, well, why did you use this particular letter or image in your collage? And a lot of the times the images I use do have some special meaning to me. But I'd say the main reason is because that's what I had. While I was working on this project, I look around at all my stuff, and things that kind of strike my fancy, I cut them out and include them in my work. But it generally has a lot to do with because I had the piece, and I thought at the time that it maybe was something I wanted to include in my work for whatever reason. I mean, in my work, I'm the artist. I get to decide these things. So, and in your work, you're the artist and you get to decide these things. So here, I'm almost done gluing down my name. Here's the T. It's fun sometimes to try to guess where these letters are from. Like, for example, can you guess where this T is from? I'll give it away. It's from Ritz Crackers, which I think is one of the most classic brands, And so here, now I've glued down my name, Michael Albert. It's not totally straight. It's not perfect. The letters aren't all the same size. Even the M that I used for Michael was actually a W from another package. But I like flipping around letters sometimes. One thing that I love to do is to flip around the R from Reese's peanut butter cups and turn it into a Y. Here's one of my text collages, just to show you another example of one of my text-based collages that I've made. And this one is called No. Even though it says yes many times in all different fonts, there's one little no hidden in this collage. I don't know if you could see it. But you could see up here, I was explaining to you before that the R from Reese's, when you flip it upside down, really does look like a script Y. Isn't that interesting? So now that I've glued down my name, I can start gluing down some other images that I have collected. And I spent a little bit of time cutting a few things out. I cut out the word art, which actually was part of the word heart. So I cut the ART part off of that. And then I found the word project on another package. So I glue them down. It says art project. Sometimes I cut little strips of color because that just adds a little bit more to the collage. If you look next to the M here, I put this little strip of color. Little squares of color. The more different colors I think that you add to the collage, the more fun it is to look at. I just put this little blue square over the A. I cut out a little thing that said serving suggestion. Sometimes there's tiny little words on the boxes. You really have to look closely. And sometimes it says enlarge to show texture because I guess the flake, let's say on a cornflakes box, is much bigger than it is in real life. And they don't want people to think that, that they're misleading them by having a giant flake on the box and then the flakes inside being a little smaller. So it would say enlarge to show texture. And I love putting that on there. because usually it's so small that you have to look so closly to find it, and that's kind of funny, you know? One last thing I'm going to show you before I move on to the last part of this video is I want to show you how I sign my work. I think it's very important that artists sign their work, and I always sign my work. And I usually sign my work on the back with a marker. I sign my name. Here, I'll show you. Here's a nice Sharpie, thick Sharpie, and I would sign my name, Michael Albert. That's my signature. And I would write the date. Today's date is 5/2/21, May 2nd, 2021. And I also have this squiggle that I do. That's my squiggle over there, over here. Just this squiggle symbol I've been doing for many years. I'm not sure why. It's kind of a logo insignia kind of thing for me. But so this is what I have so far. But what I was going to say is that I don't write on the front of my collages. You know, when you write or paint on a collage as part of the image, to me, that kind of turns it into what's called a mixed media artwork. And for me, a collage in the pure sense of the word is an image, an artwork created by taking pieces from other sources and gluing them together. And that's a collage. When you start combining paint or drawing and cutting and pasting, I think that's what's called mixed media. I don't know if anybody would disagree with that, but that's what I think. But the thing that I started doing, and that I'm going to do right now and show you, is I started putting my initials, MA for Michael Albert, somewhere in my work as a way to sign my collages. And usually I make them very small so they're harder to find. And I also don't want it to get in the way of reading the message, even though in this case, the message is my name. But you can see up here, I put my initials, MA for Michael Albert. What I'm going to need to do to finish this is to cut out all sorts of other fun things that I find on different packages and surround my name. And then I'll have a Michael Albert name collage. So I hope you'll give this project a try. Look around your house, like I said, and find whatever extra boxes you have. Look through your recycle bin. If you have old magazines, old catalogs, stickers, junk mail, old labels, photographs, you know, any sort of printed stuff that you don't know what to do with is always a good possible material to use in a collage like this. And so that's it for now, friends. I hope you have fun doing your project. My website, michaelalbert.com, you could send me messages, and please do. And if you do create your own name collage, I'd love to see them. You could take a picture of it or scan it and email it to me, and I'd love to look at it, and I'll send you a note back. And otherwise, I wish you all a happy time creating, because that's the most important thing. You know, let yourself relax, let yourself be creative, come up with your own ideas, experiment with the materials you have, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. All right, well, I'll catch you later, and thanks so much for listening and watching. All right, friends, bye.